Well, welcome to Riding Shotgun with Tupper. It is Tuesday. It is April the 10th. And, wow, it's been an interesting 24 hours for me, I gotta admit. I kind of announced yesterday that I was going to retire as the executive sports editor of the Herald and Review after 44 years. I'll be doing that in the end of May. And I have kind of maintained that it's not a big deal, just do it and then move on. And the response from people, some of you on Twitter and emails and text messages and Facebook and wherever has been overwhelming. I can't begin to thank you enough. I hope I can get through this riding Tupper without turning into a blubbering idiot, and that's a very real possibility. You know, you do something for a long time, and honest to goodness, you don't think very often, or at least I haven't thought very often about whether or not it makes any difference or whatever. I've tried to do a good job. As I said in the column I wrote on our herald-review.com webpage, I've always kind of felt like I was taking the readers with me. I always had them in the front of my mind about what is it that they would find interesting, what is it that they would want to learn or want to know or be entertained by or whatever. And I felt like it didn't start out this way. You know, when you start out in journalism, sometimes you have to find your voice, and you have to find a voice that works with your audience. In some metropolitan areas, you know, sarcasm works. It's really works. But here, I live out in the, well, you can see, I live out in the heartland, if you will, and yeah, they don't do sarcasm real well out here. They don't like a smart ass. And I tried being one a couple times early. I thought, oh, that'd be fun. No, not really. And it wasn't who I was anyhow. So you kind of find a voice and a language that you and your readers agree upon. I don't think we don't ever sign a contract, but we sort of settle in on something, and it's been fun having the readers with me all the time, and I mean all the time. You know, we're driving along really slow across here on the back of our property, but I'm talking about when we're winging down the highway and on our way to this Big Ten town or this wherever. You know, I've driven a lot of places, and I've just always felt like the readers were kind of with me, which is why riding shotgun here just makes sense to me. You know, now I actually get to talk to you instead of riding along listening to the radio and making phone calls and whiling away the time. This is seemed to me to be a better arrangement. At any rate, what I learned in the last 24 hours is that, you know, it really has mattered to some of you, and I appreciate that. I've responded to, I can't respond to everyone, I don't think. There's literally thousands, and I've responded to the people I know, which have mostly been writers and broadcasters and coaches and athletes and administrators and friends that I've had on more of a personal level. I know many of you have not met. Just the other day at the basketball thing I was over at Saturday watching Andres Feliz, there was a fellow waiting in the hallway, maybe he's watching now, who when I exited the door just introduced himself, really nice guy, and wanted to say how much he enjoyed riding shotgun, and you know, and I really appreciate that. And then walking into the stadium, some guy who I didn't know said, "Hey, Mark Tupper," and I said, "Yeah," and he said, "Man, you're a good writer, dude." And I said, "Thanks, man." I mean, those things are so nice and unexpected. They'll always come as a surprise to me, and then to have them come in the wave that they have the last 24 hours has been just remarkable. It's so humbling, you know, to hear from people like, well, I got a great text last night from Brad Underwood, which was just so sweet. A great text last night from Bill Cubitt, which was just great. And from Nathan Shielhouse, and from Jalen Dunlap on the recent Illini football team, who I'll be honest with you, I didn't know he knew me from anybody, although I've interviewed him a number of times. You know, we don't have name tags when we're at practices and things. Maybe if he looked at a game, he might. But maybe he's, you know, he's just aware of what's going on and knows who some people are. And he had some very nice thing. Graham Pocic, the former offensive lineman. You know, Ryan Baker, our good friend up in Chicago, former Illini basketball manager for the Flying Illini, and now the sports anchor at WBBM up there. And oh gosh, so many great people, and all of those friendships made over those 44 years. I mean, I hope this is the case for everybody, but those are, each one is meaningful to me. I mean, I've enjoyed the time that I've spent with people like Dave Wilhelm and Jeff Wendland, who I heard from, and my buddies over in Iowa, Stephen John, and Andy Bagnato, who used to be up in Chicago at the Tribune and is now in Arizona. And just so nice to hear from Andy and from guys in the SIDs at the different schools and in the Big Ten office, Tommy Dienhart and guys like that. And just and I think maybe the most touching ones were from people who said they don't remember a time when they weren't reading me, and it kind of makes you feel older than hell. But 44 years is 44 years, you know, and it's been too much. I had to just push away from it last night. It was getting to me and my wife, and gee whiz, people. I can't thank you enough. Enough of that. But that basketball thing Saturday was, I went there expecting to be kind of, I don't know why, but I went there expecting to be a little bit lukewarm on Andres Feliz. Maybe I just set my expectations kind of low. I'll tell you, I set them way too low. I walked out of there thinking, take that kid right freaking now. I liked a lot of his game. I liked a lot of his demeanor. He's been in junior college 2 years, so what does that make him, 20 years old? I don't know. He looked and acted and played like he was 24. There was just something about him. He had quickness, he had change of direction, he had a presence, he could see his teammates, he got the ball to him, made some great passes. The behind-the-back bounce pass to Matisse underneath the basket was a no-risk pass. I know sometimes you think behind the back, oh, God, he's going to start throwing it into the crush. Not that kind of a play at all, just a sensible play to get a basket, throwing alley-oops. And I was thinking about it because Alan Griffin was playing too. That's got to be hard. That's an awkward situation for those kids. They're out there, the balcony's full, everybody's watching them. They know that. They want to put on a show. They've never played with these guys before. Who knows how that is all going to go. You want to make plays, but you don't want to be a ball hog. You want to make shots, but you don't want to be a gunner. And I thought both those guys handled themselves well in that regard. That was just very cool. And then to get a commitment from him the next day was right on the money. Good for Brad. That's just a really good get. I know some people are skeptical about those things. I get it. People didn't feel like Mark Allstark worked out so well last year. Okay. The only thing I can say about Mark Allstark is that he didn't come over and I didn't get to see him in a workout, and maybe I would have spotted something and said, I'm not as gung-ho on this as other people are. Now I'm going to take a little running start down this little embankment here because the ground is soft. This was all covered with snow yesterday morning, and I don't want to get stuck. That's where I normally turn around. Maybe I'll find a different place up here. Anyhow, but having seen this kid, and I understand too, hey, I saw him one day. Maybe I saw him on his best day. I don't know. But I know that Orlando Antigua has a history with him, and he's seen him often. And he's played in international competitions. He's played with older players. So I feel pretty good about him. Now, tomorrow is signing day. they're going to have some kind of a press conference over there. I talked to Derek Burson today. I don't know what the arrangement is yet. They were still working it out, because it may be Brad and Lovey and Nancy Faye all talking about some late signees for them. That would be great. And we don't know, there's still an open scholarship. We don't know where that is headed. We do know about Bryce Golden, the kid that had committed to Pittsburgh before the Pittsburgh program imploded, really, with the firing of Kevin Stallings, and then players on the roster defecting, and then recruits saying no, and everybody's fleeing like it's a ship on fire. And but they must be really big on this kid. You know, this is a kid that committed to Pitt. At one time, people had him as a 4-star. Some people had him as a 3-star. I'm gonna try to turn around here. And I know Syracuse is in on him big time now, and UConn and Georgetown and Butler and maybe a couple of others, but they're trying to get him in on a visit. I tell you what, I've kind of learned that if Brad and his staff can get a kid in on a visit, they've got a really good chance to get him. It's not a 100% chance, but that would be something if they feel that strongly about him. 6'9" kid, you know. So we'll see what goes on there. I really thought that a fifth-year transfer for next season made a lot of sense, and that's the part of the story that I don't know. We don't know. Are they still thinking that? If they're still thinking that, then Matisse may have to go away. And I watched him play Saturday. You know, I'd like to say that he's good enough. I don't know that I can say that. And I'm the guy that's always preached patience with bigger players, and patience may pay off with him. I don't know that it won't. But just in terms of next season, man, this roster has come together great with Tevy and Jones and all of this stuff kind of falling into place. But the missing item right now with the departure of LeRon Black is an experienced guy who's done damage, big guy. And if you could get that in a fifth-year transfer, you know, next year becomes kind of an intriguing team. I don't know what it can become. I don't know. But I know that I'm excited about this roster remake, and they had the banquet last night, and interesting because the banquet always, you know, named their most valuable player and the Maddow Award and some other awards, and the Maddow Award originated when Lon was there in honor of Matt Heldman for hustle play, you know, the hustle points. And the other coaches have maintained that, and I wondered when the day would come when we wouldn't hear about that again. And the day came last night. There was no Maddow Award, which is fine. You know, I think the head coach deserves to have the awards that he deems are important. And no MVP award last night. You know, rebounding, free throws, three-pointers, and the Lou Henson Courage Award, which went to Trent Frazier. LeRon with the rebounding award, Aaron Jordan with the three-point honor, and Kipper, who shot almost 90% from the line, with the free throw award. So that was kind of interesting. And the room sold out at the I Hotel, and that's a good sign as well. Football, the spring game was Saturday, or the spring scrimmage, whatever you want to call it. You know, I always struggle on those intra-squad things. If the offense makes a play, why didn't the defense do better? If the defense makes a play, why did the offense screw up? I thought I thought Rayvon Bonner and Reggie Corbin really made some terrific long runs, and I thought overall Cam Thomas was okay, pretty good. Had some drops, had some interceptions. Didn't, you know, it wasn't a mistake-free scrimmage by any stretch of the imagination, but I think, you know, he did what he could to take advantage of a spring in which he got all the reps with the number ones, and it won't be that way necessarily in the fall when there's 5 scholarship quarterbacks around instead of just one. So anyhow, that's what's up with what's up. A good question asked to me was, well, what's going to happen to riding shotgun? And I don't know the answer to that. I am hoping to continue to write. I hope weekly. I would love to write twice weekly for the Herald and Review. We don't have all that worked out yet, and I hope that could happen. If there's a place for riding shotgun to continue. I would like to do it. I have to admit, I have an affection for it. I just think it's been fun. I think the response to it has been kind of remarkable in that a lot of people have identified with it. I know it's probably not everybody's cup of tea. I get that. And it doesn't need to be. But it's fun for me, and if it's fun for a bunch of you, then maybe it's fun enough to try to find a way to continue to do it. I don't know if when we get into the summer, if we need to do it every week. I don't know. But, you know, I appreciate hearing your feedback on that stuff. Love hearing from you on Twitter and through email. You know, my email account is probably going to go away. The one that people access frequently through the Herald and Review. I probably will print my personal email address and probably regret that. But you know, I like being in touch with people. It matters to me what they're thinking and what they say, what they like and don't like, and so I don't see continuing to be a little bit connected and not have that avenue of communication. And people have been nice to me in that regard. They haven't done any stupid stuff and so forth and so on. So anyhow, thanks again, everybody. Boy, I appreciate it. You guys have been so nice, and you know, I'll be around till the end of May. We'll keep doing this, and we'll get it figured out where we go forward. I'm just not going to be on the beat any longer. I'm not going to be at most of the games. I hope I'm at an occasional game, and anywhere I am and you see me, you're welcome to come up and say hi. I love it, and enjoy meeting you people and hearing what's on your mind, and you know, just I'll miss a lot of this. There's no question about that. I know that, but I'm really looking forward to some opportunities I'm going to have with my family, and particularly with my wife and our granddaughter and our daughter, you know, our kids and stuff. All that's going to be good. And we've got land out here, we've got horses out here, we've got fences out here. All those things need tending. I had my mower taken in to be serviced each spring, which I do, and so they came out and picked it up and took it off, and the guy dropped it off this morning. Yesterday morning my whole yard was filled with snow, and today it's all gone, and it looks like maybe I'll use the mower at the end of the week. I don't know. So I'll keep riding in the meantime, and we'll stay in touch. And thanks again, everybody. I sure appreciate it.